is everybody owns their own brewery. Everybody makes their own beers.
Mhm.
Breweries with restaurants attached to them. That's like the new craze.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Let's go to
that's the little microbrewery that I go to. They have very good food as well. Why is Stem VHS again?
I don't know. It just
There it
happens.
goes.
I think
it's probably just his camera.
Yeah, it's the nature of
And
his
he's
camera.
got new background.
He's got the good
I'm
camera.
standing now.
Yeah.
Oh, I
got that too.
Oh.
Yeah.
He can't stand us.
Try some Pabst Blue Ribbon. Pabst Blue Ribbon was my drink of choice when I was in high school. When I was in college, I didn't drink in high school. I was a good kid. I swear.
Blue Moon's not bad.
Yeah, Blue's not bad.
Okay, so I was told this joke a long time ago. Any beer that has an animal on the can is like the cheapest swill you could ever buy. Like there's a beer called Schmidt, which sometimes beats milk for price per gallon in America, and it's just the cheapest beer you could ever had. It has a picture of like a deer on the can. And I had one of my uncles one time. He says, "Hey, Vertigo, you want to go out and hunt some deer and get Schmidt faced?"
Yingling is a macro brewery. It is fantastic if you're, but it's fantastic only if you have the taste buds of a Philadelphian. And fight me, Philadelphia. I know you will, anyways. My sister went to college in Philadelphia, so it's more of me trying to kind of teasing her, but you know.
Where to go? The biggest brewery in the country is something called Lashko, and their mascot and the big animal on the label is an ibex. And yes, I agree. Then it's
what the hell is an ibex?
An ibex is a mountain goat with really huge curly horns.
Okay, I just googled it. Right. Okay, I gotcha. It's a mountain goat with big horns. Gotcha.
Yeah.
You were saying an ibis, not an ibex.
Ibex, yeah. Yingling is a macro brewery. Yeah, I said macro, not micro. Yeah.
The animal
microbrews than us.
The animal is amazing because they go up on sheer walls and then they headbutt each other for sport.
That is the most metal animal you could ever imagine. Rock climbing and then they headbutt each other.
Let's get to the questions.
Whoa! Raid.
Yeah.
Hey! Wow!
Raid Shadow Party.
Hey, Captain Burks! Thank you for the raid. I think Captain Burks is going to come on soon, but did Burks catch the COVID? Oh no.
No.
All right, so because like Burks is actually going to be on next with
hopefully he's feeling good.
Yeah,
right
it's Buster, Burks, and Execute next. Execute's going to be late because I know he's going to be asleep.
I can could go, a bit longer if you want me.
I forgot till I rated you. Okay, so he's like, he totally forgot that he had.
I actually mentioned it on Friday. I'm like, "You still good for Saturday, Sunday?" He's like, "Yeah." I think the last day burned out all of us in terms of that. Take some time. You still got 30 minutes, Burks, before we get started. So you're fine.
You got 30 minutes.
And we got a half an hour interruption. So
yeah. Wow, it's not an interruption. We got a half an hour guest.
Yes.
With Disco Lander showing up. All right. So the first question. First question comes from. Well, okay. I ahead of time. I apologize because this requires legal. No, I was gonna say he knows Toast, so he's probably okay. Legal to watch this. Toast is probably already watching this. This requires legal or someone at CIG to have to watch this. I apologize to whoever had to watch this beforehand. I just don't want to get any CIG employees in trouble because they want to come on and talk. It's the thing. It's the only thing I concerned about whenever I'm bringing CIG employees on, because
Yeah. There's some hoops that we had to go through every time we had Jay Leon or a couple of other people. Yeah. Basically send them questions beforehand just so they get approved.
Yeah.
Kind of spoils the interview, I think.
Nah. That's how it is for any big people.
Yeah.
Sorry, Paul.
Merrick Evans asks, HC Vertigo, do we consider, this is for you, do we consider AI subject to be the same protections as prisoners of war under the Geneva Convention?
So we actually violated the Geneva Convention today, believe it or not, in Stanton. And I'm pretty sure the laws of the United Empires of Earth because we had some AI pirates. We actually took a mission to defend an outpost. One of the new in 315, we have to do defend outpost missions, which are really cool with loot in them. I'm enjoying them. we actually saw AI pirates surrendering to security. But the mission would not progress until we executed the surrendering pirates. And I pointed out during the stream that that's probably a violation of the Geneva Conventions.
It's probably a violation of UEE civil law. Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, they give you a death penalty for a parking ticket in the UEE right now. So I don't know what to think.
All right.
I think that's just waiting for being able to handcuff people and drag them off to the prison.
We need more development. More stuff has to happen with Star Citizen before we have that stuff. It's probably just a happy accident because I've seen security forces surrender to pirates too.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you looted one, and everybody was like, "Nope!" Bang.
All right. Next question comes from Michael the Ark. What's everyone drinking now? Darsh, what are you drinking?
Oh, just some sparkly water. I had some. What is it? What's the thing I drink lately?
Water?
Irish cream.
Fluids?
Irish cream.
Oh. Irish cream. Yeah. I left it in the car. It's not cold, so.
Stim, what are you drinking?
Yeah, just water, man. I've got a little bit of colored water in there. Yeah,
just colored water. Totally not wine.
A little bit of. This would be the worst wine ever. It's got that green tinge to it.
Oh, okay. And Vertigo, what are you drinking?
I mean, have you seen white grapes are green?
The captain is visiting me.
The captain.
The captain.
And we have some spiced cider from the refrigerator. Actually, I warmed up in the microwave, so it'll be a little bit warmer. And I put a little bit of cinnamon and nutmeg in it for that kind of that seasonal flair.
Oh, nice.
Oh, come on, it's good stuff.
Cinnamon.
Smells like Thanksgiving here now.
There we go. It's Thanksgiving in Canada right now.
Yeah.
And you're close, Vertigo, being in the PNW.
Is Vertigo secretly Canadian?
No.
Maybe.
No. He doesn't live that far away, though.
He does have Seattle's
outfit all
like
the time.
Seattle's like what? 40 miles away from the Canadian border, 50 miles?
It's pretty close.
Units. Yeah,
it's an hour and a half or hour and 3/4.
So I do want to pause and say thanks Zinian Zero and Burks for the raids. So thank you all for coming on. We've raised, just to let you know, there's people coming in. We've raised over $3,000 for Doctors Without Borders. We're just going up. I'm still going to be here. It's only been 13 hours, almost 14. I'm still going to be here for 24 hours trying to do this. So,
why didn't you also do a DWB command? I keep having to look what MS what?
Oh, I'll do it. MFS. I mean,
it's not MFS. It's MSF.
MSF. Yeah.
You get confused as well. No. I did it. But I have to look at what the abbreviation is every time.
Let me
just add alias or whatever.
There you go.
Okay. So, about a 400i.
Well, the next question is from Verisalt, who asks, how do you feel about the maximum storage and landing locations?
The what?
The maximum storage and landings, because there's like there's a storage limit in landing locations.
Oh, right.
I'm fine. Like I'll probably hit the limit. But for me, like I'm gonna hit it with like ridiculous stuff, like turtles and drugs and stuff I've looted off, like knives I've looted off other players, dog tags if it says Tarkov. So for somebody like me, it's gonna be inconvenient because I'm crazy. I don't play the game like other people do or should.
Yeah. The walking 30K Vertigo. Yeah. We know this. Yeah. This is done.
I think it's fine because it's just a stepping stone, just a temporary nebulous storage until you can actually buy physical storage and put lockers in your hangars.
There is a database limit though. You can't let people have infinite storage because at some point everybody's just going to buy crap every time they stop off into a new port. They're just going to buy more crap and they're not going to go back to the old port and have gather up all their stuff, put it in the ship and ship it over. So eventually you're going to have like new content come out in Star Citizen, like Pyro, Odin, Terra, and everybody's just going to migrate over to the new content and they're just going to rebuy all their crap and they're going to have that old crap all over and nobody's going to touch that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's going to go back and haul that stuff over. It's gonna be like,
You
mini
could
pens,
you
rifles, magazines.
what if they were selling more storage? Like
They will. I think they will.
You get free storage. You get free
Yeah.
storage. Regular, but if you want to
Just
double it, you have
just
to pay
subscribe for
monthly.
$10 a month, and you get another 500K. What is it? Centi CSCUs.
Yeah,
You think I'm joking, but that's a great monetization scheme. Tarkov did it. They proved it works.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, you can also do something like the effect of like, if you have something like, oh yeah, you can get this storage shed or this
Locker,
apartment,
yeah.
you can locker, but now you have to pay rent on it. So not only do you have to, you can get it in game with in-game cash, but you also have to pay.
That's what I was saying.
Cash for it. Yeah.
I think we're gonna have that for cargo, so I wouldn't mind to have an extension of that in the cargo, like the actual the cargo docks up at the space stations, where you could rent for maybe real money or for in-game credits every month, or if you're a subscriber, you get access to special cargo lockers.
Yeah.
There's
Or just one of those shipping
perk.
containers.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Like, not only do you get to store your cargo up at the cargo containers, but you're obviously gonna have to pay a fee to store your cargo up there if you're a major trader. If you're looking to trade, like if you look at to move stuff between ships, or if you're looking to subcontract to other smaller traders, so you can deliver stuff within the local. Like if you're going from like, maybe you had like a major haul from like Terra to Stanton, and you're looking to subcontract to deliver that stuff throughout the Stanton system so you can maximize your profits, and you need some place to store that large amount of cargo so your subcontractors can make the deliveries. You have to pay like, I don't know, 5,000, 50,000 credits a month. But still, when you do the math, this is the kind of cargo profession stuff that I want to see. Like it's you make more money by subcontracting and storing the cargo at the space station than if you just tried to deliver it yourself, because taxes and like all these fees and whatnot. That's the kind of little nitty gritty stuff I want to see in Star Citizen for the cargo runners. It's very interesting when you're trying to juggle all the numbers, and you come out with like, oh, this is more optimal to do it this way.
Yeah.
But yes, Stim Citizen, what do you think?
What do you think? Stim Citizen?
I totally agree. From a cost perspective, that's a great way they can monetize things. I think they're going to go with just like what wargaming does, where you're selling gold. You're selling in-game credits, and those credits end up coming out in terms of just taxes. So whether it's berthing, moorage, transfer taxes, whatever those are, I think it's going to come out just in one way. It's the simplest way to do things, and it means that you're not obfuscating these taxes. And if we do end up doing spreadsheet citizen, like EVE Online is, that's the only way we're going to be able to figure out what those actual numbers are for the cargo hauling.
But what happens if you run out of money and can't pay your monthly fees for storage?
Oof, you probably won't be able to access the ships, maybe.
Just seized until you can
it'll
pay?
be a video game thing, I guarantee you. You just won't be able to access it until you pay the fee or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll hold it and then sell it after a while.
Oh,
like
if you don't pay it after 6 months, everything goes to.
It goes to
oh my
auction.
God, Storage Wars.
Storage Wars, Star Citizen.
Star Citizen Storage Wars, please. Oh,
don't give Tony Z any more ideas, please. Like that's
added 2 years to develop.
But that ends up being sort of like a loot box thing. You pay like 1 million alpha UEC for that shipping container full of possibly good stuff, and then you get pairs,
or you could get a decent artifact.
Space potatoes. All right, next question comes from Beaver Killer 72, who asks, you keep talking about Star Citizen or CitizenCon from through your view from longtime players. What about noobs of the verse? We got to see something new to us. I think we all agreed that it was a pretty good panel. I mean, if you've never seen a Tony Z panel before, that Tony Z panel might have been incredibly enlightening. Like if you didn't see the previous thing that Tony Z did, if
I have to make it more basic, if it was like an anime, this is the recap episode. Like, and I know some people don't like that. Recap episodes of anime.
This isn't the a recap episode. This is the entire, like the movie they took the entire season and turned it into an hour and a half movie. Like they hit the highlights,
Yeah, so they basically, this was like every Inside Star Citizen and basically what was happening throughout the entire year with Star Citizen compressed into 8 hours. There is a lot of content, not only in the Inside Star Citizen, but the Star Citizen Live, and the stuff that happens in gaming gets released with every patch. Xenothreat, Ninetales Lockdown. That was a good chunk of content with the Tony Z stuff, the Tony Z talk. They talked about what they want to do with that. And that's a really cool thing, right? Because that's the new mission system. Luke Presley talked, I think 2 years ago, about how they couldn't really do anything much more with the mission system until they had new tech, because they just have to rewrite all the missions with the new tech. Now they're starting to push new missions constantly. We're getting new missions with 3.15, new reputation system with 3.15. We're having Xenothreat came out in Force Xenothreat like 2.0 or 1.2 or whatever it was, came out this year. Ninetales Lockdown came out this year. They're talking about Jumptown. We're seeing
Jumptown 2.0. Paul, your thoughts?
Oh God, you don't want to hear me talk about Jumptown 2.0. I am not charitable about their ideas.
It's video gamey, but it's content for us to consume.
Yeah.
Like locusts, we descend upon it, we eat it, and we enjoy it.
Produce content.
It's like potato chips, okay? It's the potato chips of Star Citizen. It probably pisses Paul off because it's not lore, it doesn't make any sense, but from a gameplay perspective, it's fine. You just got to ignore the fact that you're eating potato chips. It's not good for you to eat a lot of potato chips. But CitizenCon was fine for the new viewer. So I kind of agree. I think we've said this before, that CitizenCon may not have been for people like me. For people who constantly consume Star Citizen, the live content, the pre-broadcasted, the pre-recorded content, the Inside Star Citizen, who basically lives in the game.
Yeah, or creates a spreadsheet.
45 hours
completely paginated and timestamp spreadsheet of everything that CIG has ever put out in video form. Yeah.
The content creator, we probably will be a little bored with it because it's a lot of retreads. But for the new player who wants to come back after hiatus after a couple of years and wants to see what's going on, gets caught up on what's happening. Where's Vulkan? What is Vulkan? They explained that. What is server meshing? Why do we need server meshing? They explained that. It was kind of high technical, in my opinion. My eyes were glazing over a little bit. I feel like they could have done a little better job.
Well, at least here I learned that Gen 12 has nothing to do with Vulkan. That they're gonna incorporate Gen 12 still on DirectX, and then they're gonna migrate it to Vulkan.
Yeah,
I learned that too. Think about this thing as well. When it comes to Elon Musk, and when it comes to all of the battery day and the AI day and all that kind of stuff that they were doing, those presentations, when Elon was asked why he was doing it, he said to hire the best people. And CIG has got to be looking for great people. And if CitizenCon isn't an ad for, wow, look at the crazy stuff we're doing, why don't you come and join us with this? Not only just the stuff you're learning, but the stuff that's exciting to learn, that's edge case, that is exciting, that's it's definitely for part of a recruitment drive as well, I would see.
I would consider that almost a secondary or tertiary reason for Star Citizen, but it is nice to have your face as a developer, to dress up in a nice button-down shirt, iron your shirt a little bit. I'm looking at you, Tony Z. And Mr. I'm gonna wear whatever the hell I want to CitizenCon.
The man-made Crusader, no remorse. He can wear the fuck he wants to.
Tony's got tenure. Tony's got tenure.
But it's nice to as a developer to have your face on camera, your name spoken out loud, and in nice fancy print below your face, while you talk very professionally about what you're doing and explain to people what you're doing, why you're doing is good. That is great on a resume. It's as a virtual resume. You can point to that and say, hey, I did this, and here's all I did for the company. You should hire me in the future after, because Star Citizen's not going to last forever. And a lot of these guys, most people don't have a job in the same place.
You take that back. Star Citizen's going to be here forever.
Well, Star Citizen could go 10 years, 20 years. World of Warcraft is still going. EVE Online is still going after all this time. Star Citizen is going to go until it goes. I don't know when it's going to stop. I thought 51 million was crazy. Now we're creeping up on 400 million. So whatever. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I'm just going to say not everybody holds the same job for more than 4 years. So what you're saying, Steam Citizen, I agree. That's a great idea. You can hire people just hey, look how professional our things is. Here's what we're doing. And same with the developers. They can point to that and say, hey, look how professional I was. Look how knowledgeable I was in this presentation. You should hire me, Mr. Ubisoft, Mr. Electronic Arts, Mr. Whoever else is out there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well said. Well said.
I think overall I agree that this was for a lot of different people. It was for people who liked content. That ship panel is for citizens. They knew they were talking to the CitizenCon backers, because the one thing CIG understands is that Star Citizens like big ships. Someone just shivered when I said that in that microphone. Someone's in Star Citizen community and they heard that, went, oh yes, I'm almost there. Because it's true. My own metrics bear it out. I know if my metrics bear it out, then CIG fucking knows it. That people like ships. When you talk about ships, people will be there, and and that was what it was for. But then the ICAT or the server meshing and the Gen 12 stuff was sort of for the more technical minded, and then the Tony Z stuff might have been the speed of Tony Z might have a little bit newer players. So yeah, it was some different stuff in there. It was definitely not just for people who've been playing the game, but that's the secret is that CitizenCon has always been the biggest marketing day of CIG, and that may be changing, but all right, we've got 5 more questions, and then I can grab some food other than chips. Sleazy Meyer asks, inventory at the moment seems to be a bit cumbersome. What is the end goal that we're aware of, and what changes would you like to see, if any? Darsh?
Well, right now it's super buggy. I think that may be adding to the frustrations.
Why don't we strip the bugs out of the inventory system and talk about the inventory system without the bugs?
Let's not talk about it without the bugs, because it exists. The question is, what is the end goal? Like, where is it now, and what changes would you like to see?
The end goal, other than actually physicalizing it and polishing it and making it more tangible from a visual perspective, I think that's it when it comes to end goals. But behavior, I think, is there now. You have inventory containers that you can only interact with that you're near or that you can see, and you have stuff that's on you, and then if you crash your ship, you lose your stuff. It's a huge paradigm shift in thinking. But so either you're gonna be a hoarder and have 100 of every item that you want, or you're not gonna have anything. You're just gonna be, whenever you wake up in a hospital again, you're just gonna buy the cheapest undersuit and armor that is on the same station and go from there. I don't know which one I'm gonna be. I know which one you're gonna be.
How about you, Stim? What do you think the end goal of inventory is?
The end goal. Wow, the ultimate plan.
The final product.
I think they're doing a massive step towards it now. I don't see it going much further. When we're talking about, like persistent inventory, that's what we're talking about. Is it going to go much further? You're going to have to store things. You're going to have to look after them. I think that backpacks and the amount that's in them is going to be the new rage. Backpacks, instead of, what does the latest helmet look like? It's going to be what does the latest backpacks look like?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be wearing them.
Backpack for my Astalan armor.
Yeah. That's what I'm expecting for the next subscriber flare.
And then there's going to be like a 10 billion Alpha UC item that's going to be the bag of holding. Yeah. It's like a tiny little clutch purse that has 1 million UEC storage space.
But will you be able to pull out anything you want to just by reaching your arm in and thinking about it? Now that's the question.
That's a good question.
You're just going to put one into the other, because
that's how you get world ending consequences.
Then. Singularity.
Vertigo. What do you think the end
Star
goal
Citizen deletes itself.
End goal of inventory. What do you think of the final iteration?
End goal, like I like the way the inventory is going right now. Right now with inventory and medical, Star Citizen is feeling the feel is different. It's not like the spices changed. Like if we're comparing this to like a meal, it feels different when you're chewing on it. It's in your mouth, and it just the game has changed in 3.15, in my opinion.
Fundamentally,
yes. There's some annoying stuff with 30Ks crashing, deleting the ship's inventory. You load stuff into your ship, and the server crashes, and everything's gone because you have to.
You don't
claim
even
ship
have
on the
to crash the
insurance.
server. Ship has to be stored by a station, and then you can't pull it back out because you have to claim it, and everything that's on it is gone.
Gone. Yeah. So that's a bit obnoxious. You know, obviously, if we remove that bug and we have the ability to transfer ship inventories to station inventories,
Oh no, you
we can
can't
go
do
without
that. But you know, I've had the ship stored while I was in it.
Yeah, me too.
Without warning.
So
What happened?
I like the way things are going. Everything's a little clunky. But that's by intentional. Like Chris Roberts wants us to have a more tactile feel to equipping our characters. In the future, we're going to have to open up like Minecraft. For those of you who've played Minecraft, you know what I'm talking about with the chests. You have a crap ton of dirt. Where am I store all this gravel? Where am I store all this diamond? Where am I store all these gold bars? Well, you're going to have to make chests. And you're going to have to put the stuff in the chests. And you're going to have to label those chests. And that's how it's going to be with ships. Your ships are going to have storage containers in them. And you're going to have to put stuff in those storage containers. And those storage containers have a volume, a maximum volume they can contain, and a weight. So you're gonna, and if you run out of storage space in the ship, you're just have to drop it on the ground like a pleb.
Also, somebody needs to tell CIG that clothes fold. They're not.
It's eventually they will. Like right now, the inventory system, clothes are just. If you have a flight suit, it takes up like this much space in your inventory. Like it's just a massive amount of space, and like a Medipen takes up this much space. And it's just like, I just want to find that Medipen. You have to scroll for days, especially if you've been I'm sure Stim Citizen or Astropub or Darge, anybody who's been a subscriber for a long time knows as soon as they load up the game and look for something, you have to scroll for days through all your subscriber flare just to find the thing. Like, I just want to equip one Medipen. Where is it? Just scroll. Oh, I'll just use the search function.
Better filters.
Better filters.
Intuitive UI.
The best filter I could think of would be as soon as you bring up your inventory, you start typing the name, and it starts filtering.
I would say the best filter would be to I hate to bring this up. I'm gonna date myself. Not by taking myself to Costco and buying all the free samples.
You don't buy free; they're free.
But I'm gonna put an age on myself.
Okay.
I kind of like how XCOM XCOM UFO Defense did inventory for the individual soldiers, where you had all the slots for your character. You had like slots on your shoulders, in your shoulder pockets, for your arms, for your pockets on your hips, the backpack for your characters, for your soldiers. Then you had the guns next to your characters. I kind of like how that game did it, and I feel like the way CIG is doing it, I see what they're going for, right? But I feel like the
like
item
a paper doll thing.
Yeah, paper doll.
Yeah.
Every game that tries to do something original kind of then just realizes, no, this isn't working. We'll just do the paper doll like everybody else, and then they do the paper doll like everybody else.
So I don't really like the import system. I'd rather, if you have like, I'd rather just have the ports themselves kind of like expanded out as slots, like in front of the character, and you can kind of click on those spots, and then everything that can go in that slot is immediately filtered. Like if
that's interesting. Yeah,
that's actually not a bad thing. Yeah.
But as far as the paper doll thing goes, I really like how DayZ does it, where you know, if you have a jacket which has no pockets on it, then it doesn't show any pockets. But as soon as you put like a tactical vest on, that vest shows up. A regular vest would show no storage space, but a tactical vest has, you know, 5 little squares that you can put things into. And so, you know, your backpack has so many squares depending on what it is. Your cargo pants have so many squares depending on what it is, and different shapes. So can you fit a big knife like Rambo's knife into that thing? Well, no, you can't.
Slots is massive. One thing I would love to see is loadouts. I would love to be able for players to configure loadouts ahead of time of their wish list, but not necessarily colors. Maybe if like have an option of like, yes, if the color exists in my inventory, I would love this, but if it doesn't, then I would like to have like maybe a hierarchical loadout where a character says, I would like to have nothing but heavy armor, but if heavy armor in this color, but if I don't have this color, heavy armor. I would like to have heavy armor, this manufacturer, this color, but if I don't have it this color, then this manufacturer. If I don't have this manufacturer, then just heavy armor. That way, when you die and respawn, your character just kind of like just puts all that stuff on.
Oh, like a preset? You're talking about?
Yeah, preset.
Yeah.
You just wake up, you press the preset button, and your character just walks over to a locker and just like everything's back on you. Like, okay, I would like to have a Bearing P4 AR assault rifle, but if I don't have one of those at this location, then I would like to have an S71 assault rifle with magazines for it.
Yeah.
Something like that. It would be improved. This is a wish list future. Like right now, we're very early implementation for the inventory system. It's a little clunky, in my opinion. But I like the foundation. I like where we're going. I don't exactly like the current implementation, but that's tier 0. Yeah. Welcome to tier 0, Star Citizen. You're not going to like it necessarily, but you have to look into the future where CIG is going.
Look where scanning and mining has gotten now that's beyond tier 0.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish off this part of the discussion by saying what I've said this before. Inventory looks like it was designed by a coder and a producer.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because it was designed by a coder and producer. It looks like a system that was built by, it was like that they built the system, they got it working, and then they just got it to go. Yeah. Like it was just.
It doesn't feel like it has that art to it. Like if we watch the Pyro 3 gameplay from CitizenCon, it was just gushing, right? Just everybody's like super wet over it. It's like, yes, this is it, CIG. This is so super cinematic. And then you look at the inventory system because it's tier 0. And I've fallen into this trap before where I've criticized like tier 0 inventory or UI stuff before because CIG just wants to get the mechanics into our hands.
Yeah. And
I'm guilty of criticizing that stuff. And then later on, it becomes better and better and better. It starts looking cooler and cooler and cooler.
Yeah.
Because they haven't had like somebody who a UI engineer or UI designer sit down and really, really think about it. And this is why feedback's important.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have a problem with UI, go to Spectrum. Give feedback. There's feedback threads on Spectrum for the latest patch. Go give your input.
Do we actually have any finalized UI in game right now?
No,
yes. Yes. You know we do have one finalized UI.
What?
That is the well, it's not in game. I was saying the Aegis HUD is finalized.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing in game.
Yeah.
Maybe mining and scanning.
I'm gonna side with Disco Lando on this one. I'm gonna side with Disco Lando. He's come into my chat and said this before. Nothing in Star Citizen is finalized because we're still in alpha.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
nothing. Everything can change because we're in alpha.
You know, but this is something that I would have really liked was where was the UI panel at CitizenCon? Like,
I would like to hear that too.
Yeah.
It's only so much time, guys. It was a long con, and again, if they're appealing to the
oh, please don't
large
say
community,
that.
you know,
please don't. You're just feeding the trolls.
It was a long con. Yeah. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, they only have so much time to fit into that. And
like, honestly, my eyes were glazing over after about 5 hours. And
you think the DX12 thing was dry? I can imagine sitting there with a UI designer. Now,
I didn't watch the sound one, honestly. Everyone told me don't. I'm just like, Vertigo's not going to be for you. I'm like, okay, I'll trust you guys.
All right. Let's move on. But I'd definitely like to see the UI elements a year from now and see where they're at. When a UI designer sits down and looks at
specific UI elements.
Yeah. Well, not just that, but like the inventory UI. The inventory UI when it's sat down and someone builds it out and actually focuses on making it usable. I'd like to see that.
And new Moby-Glass stuff and Star Map.
I would love to see some new Moby-Glass.
Don't get me started on Moby-Glass. Oh my god.
Sometimes I find myself wishing for the old UI system back when I'm struggling with the new inventory UI. Then I want to punch myself right in the fucking face. I'm like, no, Vertigo, you do not want that piece of shit back.
Forward.
The new UI is so much better.
You still have it when you go to the vehicle manager.
Yeah. I know,
the vehicle manager.
I open up and I try to equip some stuff to my. Actually, the new vehicle manager app is actually. I don't have to give CIG props for this. Like, this is a super minor thing. I'm sure some junior developer did. but the fact that you could equip individual missiles to each missile rack now, you know exactly which missile rack you're equipping missiles to, is a massive update. And the fact that the quantum drive isn't in its own tab, it's now under the rest of the ship systems, is so much easier to deal with. Thank you.
All right.
Oh my God, thank you so much.
We're running over time, so we only got 2 more questions. The next question is from Michael the Ark 42, who asks, "Are you worried that server meshing presentation included neither a minimum tech demo nor a progress report of what's being completed?" No, that's exactly what I expected.
No, just disappointed.
It's exactly what I expected.
Something.
I 100% expected them to not show anything, just to kind of go over what they're doing, because actually
you can't really show it.
No. Like, I think we talked about this, Vertigo. I think you were in that with Dog Demon when we talked about this, the whelming conversation. I was like, I'm not expecting it. I'm expecting to be whelmed by it. And I actually got more information than I thought, because they're actually talking about the shard system that they're building, which is brand new information. So that like what the idea that we've been having about what Star Citizen is going to be is actually not going to be that. It's going to be much more layered servers rather than one big server. So like one big server, quote unquote. No, it's going to be sharded. Sharded. It's going to be sharded so that you may be in the same location as somebody else and not even see them.
And so I kind of suspected that from years ago. Like doing the crazy Chris Roberts things where everybody's in the same universe. There's bandwidth and there's latency limits to that. Like if Chris Roberts could solve that, more the better. But most MMOs go sharding.
If they can make it invisible enough, so when you're your contacts are never on a different shard because you're expecting just to meet up with them. But some rando that you don't even know from a completely different region is on a different shard from you that you wouldn't even notice if they walked right past you. I mean,
a lot of the MMO feel is just having players fill out the universe, just encountering other players. It's not necessarily encountering players you know or don't know. If you constantly encounter players that are on your friends list and in your org, more the merrier. More the merrier. It means it turns into more of a co-op experience, right? You encounter people. If you're, and I've said this before, if you're in an org that likes to kill other players, if you're in a PvP PK org, if you like to engage other players, and then the game constantly lines you up against, like if you constantly meet people from your org and you constantly meet people that also engage in PvP, more the merrier for you. Then the game turns into a PvP experience that you may enjoy because you're constantly fighting other players who want to fight other players. And if you're in an org that happens to specialize in PvE experience and co-op experience, and you don't necessarily kill players hardly ever, friendlies or enemies or whatever, and then you constantly encounter other players who are of that same persuasion, and you find them friendly and you want to invite them into your group, more the merrier for that as well. So CIG could introduce a kind of a matchmaking system into the sharding system. I've theorized this before.
They did
years ago.
A PvP slider.
Kind of a PvP slider. Could be.
Well, we always come back to that fucking PvP slider.
Right. PvP slider. But hey, in 3.16, they're introducing FPS sliding, so you can slide into cover. So you could become a PvP slider.
PvP slider.
PvP slider next patch.
I might be naive, but I still have faith that they're going to be able to do a single shard. One, and it's two things. It's two things.
They may do it. The sharding may be an intermediary step to a large universe, but go ahead, Stimson. What do you got?
So the faith that I have, it's two, maybe three things. The first thing is the backend systems. So the economy being separate, the backend system that's managing Quanta and where everything is. All of those backend systems, those don't have to be graphically accelerated. That is just pure data flying around. Yes, obviously there's latency with data being sent, but that supports the vast majority of what's happening. So after that, it comes down to rendering for that's where really a lot
of the
economy
can be a few seconds late.
Well,
I don't think anybody would notice.
Joy of cloud computing. That's why Chris Roberts wanted Amazon Web Service and Google before Amazon Web Service, because you can offload a lot of the simulation into the cloud, and you can just have infinite cloud servers, essentially. Like whatever Amazon has, you could buy as much computing power from Amazon as you want. As long as you got the money coming in from your player base, you could just keep buying servers, right?
Right. Second thing, bind culling. If you don't need to see it, sense it, experience it in any way, shape, or form, it should not exist to you. So that creates a bubble around you as a player in a way of seeing it. And so they should have the way to, if they do it well. I mean, I remember seeing I think it was I don't know if it was at a CitizenCon or where it was, but they had like these pyramids, these triangles that the verse was broken up to. Like they gridded out the entire universe. And if you could look at it that way, because it's really hard to conceptualize all of the nuance and the technology that goes into these things. But if you can see the entire universe gridded out and then say, if I can't pick something out that far, then it doesn't exist to me. You know, if a tree falls in the forest, no one's there to see it. Does it really happen? Well, in the digital world, no, it didn't. Right?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I want to say 2019 or 2018, but they talked about that. I remember. They also talked about this on the last CitizenCon, where they talk. It also confirmed my suspicion that the more players are in the server, the worse the server perform, the worse the tick rate is.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they admitted that the more players are in the universe, the more stuff that's loaded to every player. So the more the game servers gets loaded up, but the next server meshing is supposed to unload that, add more players. But yeah. But the idea of there's, like I said, there's still that problem of latency and bandwidth. If you have somebody, for example, I'm in Seattle, and if I play against somebody who's in Australia, how do you make that connection seem fair?
Yeah.
Right. Without having teleporting. Like there is what's called rollback, which is an AI algorithm that's very popular in fighting games, where you have it's not true AI. Like everybody just kind of like writes off AI, like, oh yeah, that's AI. It's like deep neural network learning or some sort of advanced algorithm which predicts the next move with a few frames or a few milliseconds in advance. And if that is wrong, if the player inputs a different command than what the algorithm predicted, then it rolls back to what the player actually did. Then it starts over again from that point. And that's very powerful. It's very apparently it's very desirable within the fighting game genre, and people have proposed that being used in Star Citizen. The problem is that the fighting game genres tend to be two-dimensional a little bit, and the inputs tend to be a lot more limited to what Star Citizen can possibly do. But really,
not to mention, you have a single character with 5 moves versus a spaceship.
Not even just a spaceship. You can have 50 spaceships, 100 spaceships, 1,000 spaceships. You can have 1,000 people on the moons of Yella fighting it out just because they can. I don't know how rollback netcode would even help.
That would be bandwidth limitations then, yeah.
Again, we hit the bandwidth, we hit the network latency. We also hit the limitations of computational power. Is it worth the computational power of the Amazon Web Service, the cost of renting out another bank of servers to have this rollback netcode in our services? Does it make sense to have it? Or if we just shard everybody into different services, you still feel like the universe is populated, but it's not populated as much. Maybe instead of getting 20,000 people, we have 15,000 people. Would anybody notice or care? Again, the pursuit of perfection is the enemy of good enough.
I will just say this. I haven't really gone through a lot of the like, it was overwhelming the amount of content we got yesterday. So I haven't watched that game to sit down and like the server meshing to really get what they were talking about, if this was temporary, if this was long term. But what I did gather from it, from the snippets I watched, the main focus was on things that I figured I already knew, which were things like this server meshing is going to allow for more players per server because a server can be a smaller shard in the game. And we talked about this. I think we may have been this panel, but it was a different panel that we talked with, a different group that I talked about, where like, it was with the very first one. We talked about the density of population in Star Citizen. Star Citizen is never going to have the density of population where you have 1 million players in one system. When this game is fully realized and you see the game start to expand, you're probably going to have, maybe even at a peak of some of these org wars, 1,000 people on a server. because
it always comes down to how many people or ships, because CIG wants to treat ships as people. Like you essentially call out the interior of the ship. If you have 50 people inside of an Idris, it doesn't matter. The Idris is treated as one entity. You don't need to tell the other Idris what's happening inside the Idris that you're shooting at.
Yeah.
You need to tell, somebody's repairing the shield generator. Well, you just need to tell the enemy Idris that the shield generator is being repaired at like 5 hit points per second. That's all you need to tell them. You don't need to tell them the exact location of every individual inside the enemy Idris.
Yeah.
But there's still going to be 50 Idrises versus 50 Idrises, 100 Idrises, 50 people next to each other at All-Star versus 50 people on the other pad. There's going to be an entity a player-controlled entity limits.
Of course there is. But we're already at an entity limit of like billions. And I don't think you're going to see in deep space, in the middle of nowhere, you're not going to have the entity limit be you're not going to reach the entity limit with 50 Idrises. Like,
I don't know, man. Like, there are some motivated content creators out there. Captain Burke's Detox, they will push.
They will find the upper end.
They will lick it, and they will mail that envelope to CIG, and they will complain about the 30K that results.
Yeah, of course they will. That's 100% going to happen. But the answer is even if it's just the pure sharded thing that a more sharded environment. The question I became, and here's the reality. I didn't know that this was discussion on it because I didn't really watch it. So I don't think the person who asked the question about like, oh, are you disappointed you didn't see it? Did you know that Star Citizen is going to get sharded rather than single shard, multi shard? Did you hear that? Did you listen to that? Because there's a lot of information in that even though it's not visual, it tells us where they're going with it. So
and just want to say one more thing there, Paul. We got Shadowkin in the chat here, and one of the things he's saying is forget the idea of servers. It's all on metal somewhere, and you can center an instance about a single player or a single ship. So if they do this right, there doesn't have to be one single point or one single box that is considered an instance. If we're talking between shards and instances, and trying to get ourselves confused with those. So if they do it right, all they have to do is spin up more. I won't say servers, more power.
More computational power.
More computational power.
More memory, more computational power, more hard drive space. That's all on Amazon's side. Like just buy more hard drives.
If we have probability volumes and collapsing waveforms, and tracking the telemetry of what's happening, they should be able to anticipate, when two fleets are coming together in order to spin up that power. Will there be frame rate issues and tick rate issues and stuff like that? Probably, but they should, if they do it right. And that's the thing of us having the patience to wait for them to get it right over time.
Yeah.
The way I understand it is like one shard simulates whatever it's doing, and another shard simulates whatever it's doing. So it's two capital ships coming to each other, and they send that information to the replication layer. So whatever the other ship is doing doesn't have to be simulated by the other shard. It just has to be played out, and the replication layer is where all that information tangles and then gets mixed up and then played out on the individual shards. I think that is how they're going to have the servers talk to each other, like they've been saying all this time.
I've been streaming for 14 hours. My brain is mush. All I need to know is, can I have a battle with 4,000 people versus 4,000 people with the system that they said? And it seems like it's a battle of 4,000 people versus 4,000 people. That's all that really matters in the end. In the end, is this a situation where it feels like I'm in one big living universe, or will I sit there and go, "Hey, where's Diablos?" And Diablos goes, "I'm right next to you. I swear I'm right next to you.
Yeah,
where
but I can't
are
see
we?"
you.
Yeah.
I see some people bringing up like the new world in stream chat.
That's different.
I'd like to point out that the CIG is helping Amazon build the new world.
Yeah.
CIG Lumberyard is built off the back. It's basically just a rebranded version of CryEngine 2.5, and CIG has employed CryEngine developers at the Frankfurt studios, and CIG is essentially pushing Lumberyard forward into the future. So whatever CIG does may end up benefiting the new world.
Yeah, and I just realized, I think yesterday, that whatever engine they had to choose from when they were deciding to make Star Citizen. Going with CryEngine was the best thing they could have done, just because Crytek couldn't afford to pay their employees.
Yeah,
couldn't afford.
Yeah, it was the best decision.
Yeah, and they got all the
yeah.
core employees from Crytek. Yeah, it would have happened with Unreal or Unity or whatever.
Yeah.
You just imagine what a different beast it would have been if they couldn't get all the core developers. We would have gotten Star Citizen out, and we would have probably all forgotten it by now.
Yeah. So yeah, the question again, just like my point is that will I randomly run into Australians in my gameplay, or is this going to be
yes,
or is this just going to be I'm running into Americans and I have to go to the Australian servers to be able to do that or whatever? Like,
you even have the option to go to Australian servers as
yes,
American, or the Australians have the option. They made region lock Star Citizen for political reasons, for bandwidth reasons. The future is somewhat uncertain here.
I don't know these answers. But apparently there was their answers in that video or in that panel they did, and maybe someone smarter than me could figure that out and explain it, because I feel like if that's not kind of brought down and coded into normal dumb Neanderthal brains like myself, then there's going to be panic, and that's one of those things that just makes me go, what is this?
Well, in about a day, or maybe not a day, next weekend when you've got enough sleep.
Yes. When
watch the video again.
All right, and sitting down with people who know what they're doing, like Shadowkin, and maybe he can explain it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching us, and thank you so much for this section. We're going to be moving on to the next section. I'm going to take a break and grab something to eat, but I'm going to set all the other the next people up, and we'll roll into some quick discussions and so on and so forth. So thank you, Vertigo. Thank you, Sim Citizen. Thank you, Darsh, for coming on. Thank you, Disco Lando, for the special appearance.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Vertigo, did you shart when he came on and said you were right?
Yes, I did. I definitely sharted.
I could smell it from here.
Thank you, guys.